Hey guys, how's it going? It's Rob Sutton with Bike 198, and today we're actually going to cover one of my favorite subjects in mountain biking, and that is flats versus clipless. So let's get at it. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but out on the trail, flats are starting to make a comeback. It used to be for the longest time, ever since clipless pedals came out, they were seen as basically the only way to mountain bike. And you only saw flats in basically like in trials and downhill runs. But now when you go to your local trailhead, you're seeing a lot more riders riding on flats, and I want to get into the pros and cons of both so you can try to make a decision on what's best for you. So first, let's talk about flats. Now, when we get into mountain biking, there are some serious pros to flats that you might not be aware of, and the reason that a lot of riders are riding them now. First off, my favorite one is that when you are in technical situations, you do not have to worry about your placement on the pedal when you're trying to get back on the bike in a rock garden, a steep climb, or any other situation where you might need to get your foot on the pedal quickly and start pedaling. With a clipless pedal, you've got to make sure that that cleat snaps all the way in, or sometimes you're in a very slippery shoe on a very small pedal and it can be really hard to get going, and you might need to go find a flat spot to actually get clipped in and regain your ride. With a flat pedal, you just don't have that problem. You have the freedom of just getting on the pedal and going. And the same goes for wrecking. Now, while I've gotten pretty good at throwing my bike over my back and getting unclipped at the same time, there is a lot more chance of you getting tangled up with your bike when you're clipped in versus with a flat pedal. With a flat pedal, you instantly can bail without the worry of being connected to your bike. To that same token, if you're actually riding in a situation where you need to use your balance a lot, taking your foot off the pedal and using it as a counterbalance to keep your bike upright is a lot easier with a flat pedal than it is with a clipless pedal. And then the other thing, which actually might be the most important thing about flat pedals, is it actually teaches you correct technique on a mountain bike. Now, I know a lot of people out there that have been riding clipless pedals all along that think they're really good at bunny hopping when all they're doing is actually pulling up the cleat, which is actually the wrong way to bunny hop. It is actually more up in your shoulders and arms and keeping the bike level than it is pulling up on your feet. When you ride flat pedals, you actually demonstrate better technique on the bike, and it makes you a better overall rider. Now, it might take some adjustment if you are used to clipless pedals all along, but if you can get used to flat pedals, you will find that you are a much better rider on both. And that is because the techniques and maneuvers that you are using on flat pedals are more the correct technique on a bike than it is for compensating because you're clipped in with a clipless pedal. And then you're also going to find with the flat pedal that you just have a little bit more confidence. It really boils down to the fact that you can put a foot on the ground if you need to, you can get more balance, you can bail easier. So with a flat pedal, you're going to find that you have more confidence to ride sections and features that you might not have with a clipless pedal because you don't have to worry about being clipped into the bike. One other main benefit to using flats on the trail is if you've ever walked in clipless shoes in mud, anything slick, or even just to get a beer after a ride, it can be pretty hard. You kind of look like you just have stiff legs walking around because you have to worry about the cleats on the bottom. And typically clipless shoes are a lot stiffer than flat shoe counterparts. Flat shoes really are more derived from like skater type shoes that are meant to kind of wrap around the pedal itself and have really grippy rubber on the bottom to engage with the pins. So if you're in a situation that has a lot of hike-a-bike, or you like to just wear the same shoes when you get off the bike as when you were riding it, flat pedals have a lot more conventional shoe design than they do with clipless. That also means that flat pedals are a lot better in mud than clipless pedals, even though modern designs are really good at shedding it. So if you're in a really rainy situation, you don't want to have to worry about mud getting around the cleat and making it harder to get into clipless pedals. Flat pedals are going to be a lot easier to use in that situation. Now, obviously, there are benefits to clipless pedals as well. And the biggest one is going to be when you're clipped in, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be more efficient turning the pedals. The reason for that is when you get clipped in, you are in the optimal position of your foot with the crank arms to make perfect circular sweeping motions with your legs. So when you are doing things like climbing and other activities on the bike that require efficiencies, you will notice that with clipless pedals, you are more efficient on the bike. I have found in technical situations too sometimes where if I'm getting really close to pedal strikes, pulling up on the cleat can actually get you a little bit more power going over technical features that you can't do as easily with a flat pedal. So if you're looking for optimal pedal efficiency, no matter what, the clipless pedal is going to be better off for you in those circumstances. The other thing with clipless pedals is you can get a little bit more control with the bike. Now, I would argue with enough practice with flats, you can get that same feeling, but with clipless pedals being connected to the bike, you do have the ability to sometimes maneuver the bike a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about your foot coming off the pedal or sliding on the pedal itself. So in some kind of downhill technical situations, you can actually maneuver the bike just a little bit easier than you would be able to with the flats. So that is an added benefit to clipless, which is why you see some downhillers actually running more of a hybrid pedal that has a clip-in option, because in certain technical situations, you can just kind of hip that bike around just a little bit easier, knowing that you're fully connected to the pedal and crank arms. And lastly, one of the main benefits of clipless pedals is you don't have to worry nearly much about your shins. I don't know if you've ever ridden flats before, but if your foot slips off and that pedal comes into your leg, it's gonna hurt. All those pins are gonna be nailing straight into your shins, and it can mess you up pretty good. Where with clipless pedals, even if your foot slips, you just got this little pedal hitting you versus a lot of sharp pins. So guys, for me in conclusion, what it really comes down to is what kind of riding do you do and what kind of rider are you? If you're someone that is more of a really cross-country side of things that comes from road biking, a clipless pedal is going to feel a lot more at home for you. It is going to be, on a whole, a lot more efficient when it comes to pedaling, but with those downsides that you are locked into the bike itself. Now, if you're more like me and you're just out for miles per mile and you really don't worry about your Strava times except for downhill, the flat pedals are going to be a better option. They're a little bit more versatile, they teach you a little bit better skills on a bike, but you are sacrificing a little bit of efficiency that you get with the clipless pedals, especially if you're on these really long kind of death march rides that some of my friends like to go on. The efficiency of the clipless pedals can really add up over the miles, where you lose some of that with the flats. So guys, I want to hear what you think down in the comment section below. Is this what you see as the pros and cons of flat pedals and clipless pedals? Are you finding that you start to use flats more now than your clipless pedals? Hit up the comment section, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to Bike 118 for more videos like this in the future. And until then, on to the next one. Thanks guys, see ya.